Welcome everybody, this is the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage, continuing on with my Rotary sewing machine series. I mentioned to you all that I get lots of questions about rotaries, and in addition to things like the rubber pulley friction drive setup that sometimes needs to be overhauled, honestly the biggest questions I get have to do with the threading of the machine. I don't find them to be difficult, but because the sewing manuals are sort of approximate in the way they're drawn and illustrated, there are no photographs, and if there are, they didn't print very well, right? And so I wanted to kind of show all of you this. The bobbin system for rotary machines, they have their own bobbin. They're called rotary bobbins. They were in production many years. This is a vintage version of that, well taken care of and stored because it's still real shiny. And they hold quite a bit of thread and they work beautifully. Now, the question that comes up often has to do with the bobbin cases. The bobbin cases are just as well made, just as well machined, and just as durable as anything Singer ever produced. They are set up differently. And it had, this company had its own patent. Now, the first thing to mention to you is that the bobbin cases they're the same size, and you can tell they were made by the same company, but when you switch from, say, the white brand, this is a white model 77 bobbin case, and I'll show you the inside. It looks different, and it threads slightly differently than does the Kenmore version. And of course, the domestic and Dressmaster and Franklin versions may have slight variations. Now, you might wonder, why in the world did they do that? Sometimes they were trying to differentiate the different branded versions of this machine, because remember, if Sears was going to sell the Kenmore version, they wanted it to be different enough so that it didn't simply look like a copy of the white rotary, which in fact it was. And so that is my only theory as to why they're different, and a lot of it will have to do with the very top, and I'm going to pull this up so you can see it. Again, this is from the white brand machine, and I'm going to show you how it threads. It's actually quite simple. Like most bobbin cases, it's not really a big deal. In fact, I don't think this is all that much different on this brand of rotary than is a Singer 15 class when you get down to it. Now, as many of you know, when you go to thread a bobbin case, you want to always be sure, and this is true whether you have drop-in or a bobbin case that you have to remove like this one, and you take it out. So let's say you've got your bobbin all wound. This one is mostly full, not completely. Always pay close attention to the direction of the thread. This is true with every sewing machine. One of the things I think I covered in my troubleshooting video is that one of the reasons that people go to sew and the machine is giving them problems is because it hasn't been threaded properly. If you put thread in the wrong direction, even if the machine lets you pull it through, you will have problems because the machine was engineered to sew with thread on a certain pathway, and that includes the direction. Sometimes you will see directions for threading bobbin cases that may have the thread going counterclockwise or hanging off this side, right? So it would be as if it was, going in this direction, counterclockwise. Many bobbins, including this one, you always put them in the bobbin case clockwise, okay? Clockwise meaning the thread is coming off on the right side of the bobbin if you're holding it in your left hand, and again, it's wrapped around the bobbin in a clockwise position. Okay. Now you're going to hold, and you see me do this with the Class 15 bobbins. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hold the bobbin case in my left hand. If you are left-handed, you would do the reverse of this. So you're going to hold the bobbin case. You take the bobbin itself, and you simply put it there. Don't worry about the thread being here. It's not hurting anything. If you can hold it like this. Many bobbins, including this one, have a way to hold them to keep the bobbin from coming out. On this model, there are two little flanges here, I guess you'd call them, really springs. And if I pinch them between my thumb and my finger, if I can get my big fingers on there, notice I can hold it. I can hold it like that, and the bobbin's not coming out. However, if I let go, the bobbin lets go. So you want to remember that when you're loading the bobbin. Okay, so I'm holding it in my hand here. I'm going to put the bobbin in. I've got my thread coming off on the clockwise position, hanging off to the right. Think of it as like a little ponytail hanging on the right. Now, let's come up close and let's make sure you can see what I'm doing here. Now, look, and if I don't know if this comes up in the light, it might. This bobbin case, like many, has layers. It actually has, a shell, but then if you look at it from the side, you're going to see a whole nother layer of steel. Because it has, think of it like a band, right? So it has a band that's covering the rest of the bobbin case, and you can see the band. Where are my scissors here? I'll point with this. You can see the band as it comes over the side of the bobbin case right here. You can see that band is an extra layer, right? So I've got my thread, and now I'm going to double back. So I'm going to come down to where you see where the band that's on top, how it makes a kind of a turn. It turns down there toward the center of the bobbin side. Well, that's the space where I want my thread to be. So I'm going to pull. Look really closely at the top here. And I'm hoping in this light, you see that little sort of opening. It's a very narrow space at the very top. So I've got my thread. I'm going to come over. Now watch. The thread, whoop, don't get it on that little ear just yet. Now, the thread is now happy. It's resting where it wants to be, right here. I'm going to take it out and do it again because it's easy to miss. And if you remember, I always told you never pull backwards on a bobbin case. You always want to pull forward. So I'm going to get my scissors and cut the thread so I can thread it again. And then I'm going to take the direction I pulled the thread originally, and I'm going to pull it out that way. Don't pull backwards. You can damage your bobbin case. Bobbin cases are not designed for thread to go backwards. They don't like it. Okay, so here we go again from the top. I've got the bobbin, the thread's hanging off on the right side. I'm coming over here. Now, I have shown you, here, get my scissors here, that the bobbin case has this extra plate on top of the side, and it kind of comes down here. It goes all the way up, and on this one, it ends at the top. But if you look in the light, you will see that, there's a layer here. There's like a little space where that thread is going to slide through. You don't need that wide of a space there. So I'm coming here, and there's a little, I don't know if you guys can see this on the side, there's a little slit right there at about 3 o'clock. Okay? So I'm going to come down with my thread, I find the slit, and then I'm going to come back up, and I have now threaded the bobbin. How did I do that? Because the thread went into this little slit here on the side, and then I pulled it upward to bring it around underneath you can see the little, there we go, that's a good shot. You can see that the thread went right, once I got it through that slit, I was able to pull it underneath this here, that little plate of steel, and pulled it down. And it should go fairly easily for you. As long as your bobbin case is not rusted or really filthy, the thread should slide fine. Now what do you do? Now that you've got it threaded, you want to let your thread tail hang. You need some. You don't want to shorten it. So I'm going to let it hang like a little ponytail there. Just let it hang, and then of course I'm going to insert it into the machine. And the way this will go in is just like any other bobbin case. You're going to have a space at the top for what I like to call it the ear. People have different names for this little part of the bobbin case. And what I'll do is I'll squeeze my finger and thumb together. That will keep the bobbin from falling out. And then I'm going to place it into the machine. And I'm now holding the machine with one hand and the bobbin case in the other. So we'll see how this works out. I'm a one-person crew here. So I'm going to take the bobbin case, and again, I've got my fingers and thumb, and I'm going to slip it right in there. And if this shows up, yeah, and you'll see where the little ear of the bobbin case, there's a little notch at the very top over here where the hook and shuttle are, and then it fits in fine. You will know if the bobbin case has not been installed properly, because when you don't even have to start sewing, you can just move. I'm moving the hand wheel here, and the bobbin case didn't go flying, so that tells you that it's installed. And you'll get a feel for that. You'll know because it'll feel secure when you put it in there. But that is essentially how you thread a white rotary bobbin case. Now, for those of you who have Kenmores, I know that the Kenmores are different. The next Kenmore I get, in fact, if I can get a hold of a Kenmore bobbin case, I could do the video without actually having the machine, because the biggest difference is with a Kenmore. Let's see if I can. I'm going to zoom back out so I can give you a better shot of this. With the Kenmore bobbin case, one of the things you'll notice is that after you have threaded the bobbin case in a similar fashion to the white model, like this one here, you then, there is a little place at the top of the ear, and it has a groove. And as soon as I get a Kenmore case, I will do a video on that for you guys, because it's different. And if you've never threaded the Kenmore rotary, you might ask the same question. You might think, well, gosh, how is that supposed to work? Again, it's not difficult, and one of the most useful things is to have good lighting, because when you have really good light, you have a better shot at getting your bobbin case threaded properly, because you have to see what you're doing. And having light like this is just invaluable. It helps me to see what I'm doing, and hopefully it helps you to see what I'm doing here on the video. So I hope this was helpful, everyone. And if you have a Kenmore rotary, hang tight for me, and I will look for, I don't think I currently have one of the Kenmore rotary bobbin cases on hand, because when I sell a machine, it typically, the bobbin case goes with it. But as soon as I get one, I will make a video on that one as well. But let me know what you think. Let me know if this was easy for you to see. Hopefully the lighting here was better than the other attempts. People try really hard to video these rotary threading paths, and it can be tough. But I had some good lighting today, and I wanted to see if that would be helpful for you. So anyway, if you have one of these rotary machines, folks, don't give up. They are incredible workers, and they are worth restoring and keeping. They are tough machines, and I think they're one of the most underappreciated and misunderstood machines out there, but they're incredible, and they can do some amazing work for you. So I appreciate you watching so much. Thank you.